Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Defense Radio, the podcast. I am your host, Josh Nahosa, and I am an independent advisor representative for SWAN DFW. That stands for Sleep Well at Night, Dallas, Fort Worth. And I am here with a certified financial planner, which in the original Greek means very smart, very handsome, and outgrew my hair. It is Hector Nahosa.
2 out of 3.
Hector, as stated earlier, is a certified financial planner, which is the top mark in our industry. Hector's been doing this since 1993, we've learned. He moved up here in 1995.
That's right. To do school teachers' retirement.
Yeah, so
if you're a school teacher, I understand your pension and I understand 403B, so give us a call.
Yeah. Of course, if you have any questions or comments about anything you hear, you can comment down below or you can call us. All of those numbers and emails will be in the description wherever it is you're watching or listening, but we'll give them to you at the end as well. So, what are we talking about today?
Getting started. The email we send out is, good things to do at age 40, but it's really good things to do when you've reached a point where you say, okay, I need to kind of change from the mentality of a 20 and 30 year old into a grown-up and start doing some things. And so, yeah, some people do it at 30, some do it at 40, some do it at 50, some of us at 60 are waiting for that transition, but it'll happen.
Yeah, so this is just like, I guess, a step forward maybe in your financial journey.
Right.
Or maturity, I guess.
Yeah.
Setting yourself up for
success.
For different things. Correct. But first, we have a new story today, and it takes us all the way to a small Turkish town named Lice. More than 25,000 people.
Wait, lice like in your hair lice?
Yep, Lice, Turkey.
Okay.
Police department decided to burn about 20 tons of cannabis in the middle of the city. There's actually a pretty cool picture. We'll show it on the screen. They spelled out lice with the cannabis, lit it on fire. Unfortunately, that meant that this town of 25,000 people
Yikes.
were held captive inside their houses. As people who left their houses were experiencing, it says, nausea and hallucinations.
Well, they're getting high.
Right. The police department, very excited. The crime rate did plummet for that week while everybody was inside. So,
Yeah.
Good idea, bad idea.
Well,
Great way to get rid of excess drugs.
Yeah, or you could have done it outside of the city and maybe just gotten I don't know what wildlife there is in Turkey. And yes, I'm excited that their rate, the police, that their crime rate was down.
Yep.
But addiction rates are up. So
Sure.
What are you going to do with that? So, yeah, maybe find a better place to burn cannabis, or there's probably like 4 guys that could have just smoked the whole thing in a couple of days. But anyway, different story.
Different story for a different day. Just thought it was kind of funny. School teachers are complaining because it's threw off the end of their semester. Parents are complaining because their kids are getting sick. Some people are excited about the whole thing. The mayor said it was unprofessional, to which I would say you're the mayor.
You're the mayor.
In charge. So,
but he was high. So what are you gonna do?
You win some, you lose some, I guess. There's got to be better ways to do it, but this is why I'm not a mayor.
Yeah. So somebody just didn't think that one through. Somebody said, "Hey, this is an idea. Yeah, let's do that. Look how cheap it'll be. It'll be right in the middle of the fire department. Right, it'll be perfect. What could go wrong?"
Yeah, I think the funniest part, and then we'll move on, is the picture. Because there's a professional photographer took a picture of from above. Like there's like a drone or a helicopter looking down at lice on fire spelled out, which will be on the screen.
Yeah.
So somebody somewhere was like, oh, this will be great, and we'll photograph it. We'll hire a photographer.
And they're going to call that Exhibit A when people start suing.
Right. So, oh well,
missed it by that much.
Hopefully they'll learn better next time. They have 20 tons of.
I would be. How does a town that small get that much?
I don't know.
It
had to be years of buildup.
Yeah,
had to be.
I would imagine. Huh, that's funny.
So, seamlessly segue. Imagine we came up with a great segue. We're now here. Things to do at 40. Smart money decisions.
Yeah. Don't move to lice turkey on annual burning of the pot day. Smart things to do at 40 or when you're getting started. These are basic. This is a football analogy. Would say this is how you learn how to block and how to tackle and how to do the basic things to set you up for down the road. Yeah.
So the first one is establish your emergency fund. Obviously, life can be unpredictable. Things pop up. Car payments, car repairs, medical expenses. Things just happen. So you want to be able to set yourself up to be able to handle those.
Right. Don't let a minor annoyance become a catastrophic event, is what I was taught early on. And so if a blown tire is going to all of a sudden set your whole budget and everything, if you're going to spend $200 or $300 on a blown tire or the carburetor needs to be replaced or whatever, and that can either be an annoyance or it can be catastrophic. So if it's an annoyance, if you've got the money, you go, man, I really don't want to spend it, but I got the money. It's catastrophic if all of a sudden you got to decide, yikes, $300, who am I not going to pay this week? Which of my 4 children isn't going to eat this month?
Sure.
So set the money aside so that when these things come up, and they will, the money's there. You're gonna reduce the stress in your life fairly dramatically.
Yeah. What, just as a general rule, would be a good amount to set aside? Because that's different for everybody, obviously.
Yeah, and so we talk about maybe having 3 to 6 months of whatever it takes to run your home, because another emergency fund would be if you lost your job or if you couldn't go to work, you got hurt or something. So if you're living, say, on $3,000 a month, then a good emergency fund could be $9,000 to $18,000. Obviously, if you're living on $10,000 a month, then you need about $30,000 to $60,000. So it just depends, but 3 to 6 months of what it would take, and those usually we like to see that kept in a local bank, 90-day CDs at the very worst that you will have to collapse if something happens on that. But we want it fairly liquid, and we want you to be able to get to it just as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good question. 3 to 6 months worth of whatever it takes your family to live on per month. Yeah.
The second point here is pay off some high interest debt. We've talked about before, there's good debt, there's bad debt. Yeah. Good debt would be like your house. Bad debt would be like a credit card or something like that.
Yeah, and I saw somebody had a car loan at around 14%. That ain't good. So if you have a 16, 17, 21, 24% credit card and you're making minimum payments, it's going to take you 17 years to pay that off. So let's get that paid off. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, but usually the one that I have found most effective is you take your smallest amount. Let's say that you had one for $5,000 and one for $300, and on the $300 you were making $50 payments, and you said I'm gonna dedicate another $50 a month to pay off my debt. You would take the 50, add it to the 50 on the small account, pay that off in 6 months. Then you would take that 100 and take the next smallest, if it was $1,000, start paying that one off. And so paying those things off builds some momentum, builds some confidence, gives you a good feel. You feel good about what you're doing. You want early victories. And so that would be a way to do it. But most importantly, however you decide to do it, get rid of the high interest rate loans.
Yeah. It's definitely important just to start.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just going to be there forever.
That's right.
Procrastinating loan payments doesn't generally work well. It's not a recipe for success to get out of it.
And unless you're the Dallas Mavericks, you're not going to win the lottery.
Sure.
So, the money you have coming in is the money you have coming in, and you just need to manage that. And obviously make sure that you're spending less than you're making, so you don't have to take these high interest loans.
Yeah. Third point here is have a solid start to your retirement savings.
Yeah.
I guess at 40, in this arbitrary age we've chosen, you're still a couple decades away, most likely, from retiring. So what does a good start look like for someone that maybe hasn't started or is very early in that process?
If you have a 401k available, and something like 70% of Americans do, check to see if you're eligible, and then check to see if there's a match. And because if there's a match, you want to start putting in that 401k right now, and at least to get the full match. But even if you don't have a match in a 401k, start putting some money in. Maybe you can only start with 2 or 3% of your income. That's fine. Like you said, getting started is the hardest thing. Adding to that is fairly simple. So if you start, say, in 2025 at 3%, and then you get a small pay raise in 2026, and you take, half of that, you take 1 more percent, and now it's 4%, and you keep doing that. Well, heck, by the time you get to 2035, you're putting in 10, 12%, and all of a sudden you're beginning to see your 401k balance grow. And if you're older and you have newer young people coming in, our success story is we had a Lockheed Martin employee called me and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm 60 and I'm going to retire. I'm eligible to retire in 3 years and I've done nothing." I thought, nothing? But when he started in like maybe 28 to 32, something in there, his mentor said, put 10% of your money in that 401k, invest it this way, and don't touch it. And that's all he did. He never increased it. He never changed. He retired really well on the recommendation and the prompting of an older person who'd been down that way. So if you're there and you got young people coming in, take a minute, buy them some coffee, buy them lunch. They'd appreciate that. And then, set them up for success.
Yeah. Our fourth thing here is celebrate a strong credit score. This kind of goes along with paying off some debt.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that's good and healthy, or as healthy as it can be.
Yeah, and if it's not healthy, start working towards paying that off. By the way, on the paying off high interest rate credit loans or credit cards and stuff, do not, in any way, form, or fashion, call that 800 number that you see on TV where they say, if you call us and, for no money, we'll pay everything off and everything will be fine. And that it doesn't happen.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen. So find out what your credit score is and start. This will serve you well to have a good credit score. And it's funny, when you're young and you have a bad credit score, but you really need money, nobody will give you any money. Because you're young and you have a really bad credit. As you get older and all of a sudden you've got some savings and got some things going on, you don't need money. Now everybody's wanting to lend you money and do things. So celebrate a good credit score. Get it, keep it, and pay attention to it, and it'll serve you well.
Yeah. And the last one here, this is not included on the email, but it is a Hector and a host request.
Not request.
/
demand.
Demand. Find a certified financial planner.
Yeah. Find somebody, and we'll have to do a podcast on why a CFP. What's the difference between a CFP and a financial advisor? You want somebody as a CFP. We're trained on the 5 major parts of retirement, and that's retirement and investing and taxes and insurance and debt management. You need somebody who has a wide range of expertise. Because if you go to somebody who all they sell is insurance, you're talking to a hammer, and the hammer's the only thing they're looking for is a nail. So you've become a nail. And so if you're talking to an investment guy and that's all they do, they're going to sell you investments. You need somebody because a well-rounded portfolio includes the insurance, includes the estate plan, it includes all of the things that guys that invest or sell insurance, they're just not able to or qualified to or have taken the time to learn. So a CFP with well-rounded, some experience and a well-rounded knowledge of everything that's going on is probably the first thing you should do. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for a CFP, why Swan? Well, we don't have any minimums, right? So we can start. We've got people that are putting in $50 a month, $100 a month. It's really young people.
Yeah.
So you don't need to bring over 10,000 or 100,000 or 250,000. And if you're got over $1 million, we have what we call a participation agreement that allows you to pay us just a percentage of what you make. So if you don't make any money, you don't pay us any money. That seems fair. There's some laws about who we can offer that to or not. So, yeah, make sure if it's not going to be Swan, make it Swan-like. Mm-hmm. Make sure they're independent. Because if I was a CFP with an insurance company, and my job was to sell you our insurance products because that's what we did. So, and annuities. We want to talk a little bit about annuities.
Yeah, the big thing I think is just make sure certified financial planner is a big one. Make sure they're independent. Yeah. Obviously, if they work at Nationwide, the best thing, they're going to sell you the best thing Nationwide has to offer.
That's right.
Not a knock on Nationwide. We actually sell a lot of Nationwide.
We like Nationwide.
But that's true of any company.
That's
State
right.
Farm, Geico, whatever. If you talk to somebody that just represents that company,
you're going to get that product.
It's a lot like going into a Ford dealership and trying to buy like a Kia.
Well, if you say, what's the best car in the market at a Ford dealership? 10 out of 10 times, guess what?
It's a Ford.
It's a Ford.
So find somebody independent, not tied to one particular company.
Right.
It's the best thing for you.
Yeah. And one of the most frustrating things when I was at MetLife is we were limited on some of the annuity insurance products that we could sell. I was just looking, we have that most big home, brokerage dealers and stuff don't do, is an annuity. We had a 60-year-old man put $500,000 into that annuity, guaranteed in 4 years he's going to get $47,000 a year for the rest of his life and the rest of his wife's life. And they're both right at about 60 years old. If he waits just 3 more years at 67, it's going to be something like $65,000, $66,000 a year. Those are the kind of products that we can go out and look and find that will fit a really good niche that some folks that are working for an insurance company or a bank, they're limited on what they can offer. So independence, huge deal.
Yep.
And the mark, huge deal.
So if you would like to talk to us, certified financial planner, right over there.
Yeah.
We have a couple different ways that you can contact us. And the first way is via email address, and it's info@swandfw.net. And we have a phone number that's 888-SWAN-DFW or 888-792-6339 if you don't want to figure out how to spell Swan DFW on your phone. Both of those will be in the description wherever it is you are watching or listening.
That's right. And we appreciate you taking the time and give us a like or a smile or forward or,
It's definitely a smile.
It's a smile. Share this with people, especially people that are getting started. It'll do you good to help somebody get started.
Yep. So thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you and God bless.
The preceding content is informational only and based on information available when created. It is not an offer or solicitation, nor is it tax or legal advice. It does not consider your financial circumstances and objectives and may not be suitable for you.